Happy Tuesday and welcome in to South Florida Daily. I'm Kate Monahan. Today we have a packed show, so we're going to get right into it. Mangroves are home to many different species of birds in South Florida and are essential for our local ecosystem. James Curry takes us along on his journey to plant them. Come with us as we learn about the history of the Lake Worth Lagoon and admire its beauty. We love all the fresh produce we are able to get from local farms here in South Florida. We take you on the town to check out one of our favorites, Swank Specialty Produce. But first, Megan sits down with the owner of a local cookie company. Let us introduce you to your new favorite dessert. South Florida Daily is on the move with Palm Tran.
If you love sweet treats, listen up because we are about to introduce you to a delicious cookie brand that you have to try here in South Florida. I'm with Caroline McGinley. She is with La Gringuita Cookies. I said that okay?
Yes.
La Gringuita. Caroline, tell me, when did this brand start? How did you get started in the cookie business?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Never planned on starting my own business, and I actually moved down to South America, all the way down to Uruguay, so super far south, to teach English. And my second year there, I actually was selling my cookies, all original recipes, just out of my apartment. Got super obsessed. It was mainly just like a social media business, so I got orders through Instagram. So what I was doing when I was still in Montevideo, I was making all of the dough and then freezing them. So whenever I got an order, I would just take the dough ball out of the freezer, pop it in the oven, and then my customer would have a fresh baked cookie. But around like April of 2020, one of my friends came over. I ended up taking one of my frozen dough balls and I put it in a Ziploc bag and took a Sharpie and wrote the directions on it. And she took it home, popped it in her freezer, and a couple weeks later, she called me and she's like, "Caroline, I'm in my pajamas, I'm watching a movie, my house smells like fresh baked cookies, this is amazing." And that's when the idea of like selling the frozen dough instead of the fresh baked cookies came about. And I just started researching like, how do you start a business? Like Googling.
You got on the Google.
Yeah.
Got on the Google and figured it out.
So I read a blog that Whole Foods like buys from small suppliers and you could sell to just one Whole Foods. And so I was like, that's a great way to just kind of get your foot in the door. So immediately I made my goal, sell to Whole Foods.
Tell me about the cookies. What's your best seller? What do people really gravitate toward?
It's so funny actually because my brand is like oversized stuffed cookies, but my best seller is the only one that does not have a filling, which is classic chocolate chip, the brown butter.
Okay.
And then my second best, which is, it's like a close second, is the churro. So it's cinnamon sugar with stuffed with dulce de leche. And they come in pre-formed dough balls like this.
Okay.
So it's already stuffed for you and you just take it right from the freezer, pop it in the oven, and then the bags are resealable. So you can bake just one or two at a time, keep the rest in the freezer for whenever you feel like. And I don't use preservatives, but the freezer's a natural preservative, so they actually last for up to a year, just naturally.
Okay, talking about the nostalgic flavors, I noticed you have one here. This is the jammy?
Yes.
Is this peanut butter and jelly?
So it's actually not peanut butter. All of my cookies are nut-free.
Good to know. Glad I said that.
And
okay.
I did that on purpose because a lot of cookie doughs in supermarkets are made in like the factories that contain nuts. So a lot of people that have allergies can't
eat them.
Exactly. So it was a way to differentiate myself. And I am a big peanut butter person, but the jammy is actually my favorite.
Okay, so what's in the jammy?
So it's mixed berry jam,
Okay.
and it's a vanilla dough. So it's not like, if I'm a chocolate person, so I think if I didn't know my cookies at all, I would go for chocolate. But this one, it's similar to like a Linzer cookie, a similar flavor profile.
Yum.
Yeah.
I love a Windsor cookie. Okay, vanilla dough with berry jam.
And it just tastes like something your grandma would make.
Okay,
like,
so we've
super
got
comforting.
churro, we've got the jammy, we've got chocolate souffle. Is this like a double chocolate?
It's so chocolatey.
Chocolate dough stuffed with dark chocolate souffle filling.
Yes.
Love that. So if you're a chocolate lover, that's probably the one you want to go for. So people can start buying these in Whole Foods in South Florida when?
They're gonna start to roll out in April.
Okay.
So right around the corner.
Okay, Caroline, congratulations. This is so exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in today. Can't wait to try these. So soft.
Oh, I love with like a scoop of vanilla ice cream.
Just pulling up here into a restorative mangrove project, and I'm here with Kyle from Mang. Tell us a little bit about Mang and what you guys do.
Sure. So Mang is an environmental apparel brand, and our focus is to restore coastlines. So for every product we sell, we plant a mangrove. So this is one of our first projects actually. It's called Bryant Park, and it's a southwestern island. And recently we just did a little restoration here, and we're just checking it out, just to make sure our mangs are still kicking.
Cool. So the rocks are creating a barrier for, wave action and all that kind of stuff, right, to allow the mangroves to flourish?
Exactly. So, the whole concept is we have a lot of things that are going on. So a lot of human-based things that are causing boat wakes. So the idea is that they build these riprap walls to protect the mangroves, hold in that sediment, and then give the mangroves an opportunity to grab sediment and build a base layer basically for future growth.
And then once that process has taken place, then it kind of looks after itself, right? Once the mangroves have got their roots structured and everything, they hold that sediment in there, right?
Exactly, yeah. So once we get the mangroves rooted, they begin to build their base, the roots go out, those prop roots begin to drop, and then all of a sudden you have land being built by the mangroves, and then you increase your ecosystem footprint for fish, for birds, for oysters to grow, and all kinds of different things to enjoy the lagoon.
So what species of mangroves do we have on the Snook Islands? Are they red, white, black?
You have a variety of all three.
Okay.
Most of the restoration efforts are all focused on red mangroves. So red mangroves are the first thing that kind of go in the ground, and then blacks and whites are naturally recruiting around them. And then it's just an effort to get, red mangroves tend to grow a little bit slower. So establishing red mangroves, getting a nice footprint, starting to really hold down that shoreline with those different, that mass of prop roots really offers a different type of ecosystem.
Amazing. Yeah. So this has been like your passion for how many years now?
We started Mang back in 2015. It's been a passion of mine since 2013, really forwarding my degree, which is environmental science. I knew I had to give back somehow. I knew I needed a brand that could stand behind a mission, and that mission just so happened to be mangroves. And being able to come out here, see and do physical work, and show our community of people that planting mangroves is just as important as anything else, as picking up trash or doing anything like that. It really builds a community of we can do this, we can restore our coastlines, we can provide a future that's going to be healthy and happy, and provide more ecosystem footprint for our wildlife.
And I guess it's a nice tie into that other passion of yours, which is fishing, right? Tell us how fishing and mangroves are linked together.
Mangroves and fishing go hand in hand. It's like peanut butter and jelly. They just mix, they blend. So the more mangroves we have, the more ecosystem footprint we have for juvenile fish to grow up. And 70% of those marine species utilize our estuary and our mangrove ecosystems as a place to really grow up, get big, and then they can either go offshore, they can stay inshore, and then they can have that choice. But mangroves are the foundation. When the leaves drop into the water, they create what we call detritus. And that detrital breakdown is basically the food web. So it starts there as the base. You have oysters, which are helping to clean and filter water. You have your drums that like to eat oysters and barnacles and stuff. You have redfish that utilize tarpon, snook, bait fish. And I understood from the start that more mangroves just means better fishing. There's nothing like going up a creek into the middle of nowhere and getting into your own oasis where no one's around, and you get to enjoy nature as it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and it's those oysters that are a draw card for the species which we're targeting this week, the American oyster catcher. How was the paddle?
Oh, delightful.
Nice morning, huh?
Heck yeah, man. On the lagoon, sun shining. Doesn't get better. So welcome to Snook Island's natural area. Snook Islands is our largest restoration project within Lake Worth Lagoon. So Lake Worth Lagoon is Palm Beach County's largest estuary. All right, a lot of people, when they see the water behind us, they think, oh, that's the Intracoastal. It's not. The Intracoastal, think of that as like I-95 that runs through all of these different natural water bodies. And that's what the Lake Worth Lagoon is. 130 years ago, this was a freshwater lake. There was no connection to the ocean. And in the late 1800s, they dug the first Lake Worth Inlet or Palm Beach Inlet, which created an estuary. And that is where saltwater and freshwater worlds collide. And that's what we have now, is this nursery habitat here that fosters juvenile sea turtles, is a home for manatees, and all the juvenile fish that grow up here and then move out offshore to the reefs. So this is an incredibly productive habitat.
If you missed an episode, make sure you head over to our YouTube channel and hit subscribe. Head over to southfldaily.com for more information. The South Florida Daily set is sponsored by El Dorado Furniture. Welcome back into South Florida Daily. It's time to check out the mangroves.
You guys ready to plant some mangroves? Yeah. All right. What do you say? Let's do it.
You guys are more than welcome to pick one mangrove up. If we want a couple of people that want to dig some holes, we got some post hole diggers here. I'm going to bring each of you guys to your locations where I want you to plant. So some of you are going to be planting in the water because we don't have as much space as we need, but we'll make do and we'll make sure we get it done, all right? So the next hole can go right here. Whoever wants to step on up and do that one. And then we're going to keep just coming along the fringe here. We'll do one just about right here. Whoever wants to do the next one here. All right, got that? It's gonna fill in on itself a little bit, so you just have to keep pushing on it. You do it all the time? Yeah, it's my gym workout.
I'm a florist.
Yeah, well, that'll do it. Yeah, there you go. All right, we're gonna come up right in the fringe here, right in between these two nice mangroves. There. If you wanna dig it, have at it. All right, so you got one there. Perfect, now bring that sediment right back on top of it. All right, I'll take you down here. I'll find you a perfect little zone. Keep coming, follow me this way. I'm gonna keep showing everyone where they're gonna plant their mangroves, all right? We're gonna actually do one more right up behind this gentleman up in here. Okay. You can kind of pick it. Think about a natural ecosystem. We don't like things in straight lines, so be very random with your planting. Have fun with it. And then just pack that soil down ever so lightly. Make sure that mangrove's standing upright and straight.
Guys, look up into the sky. What do you see? I see balloons floating up in the air. All right. Now, I understand people want to celebrate and everything. I just don't understand balloons, okay? I can't tell you how many of these we find in our natural areas. I have friends who study wading birds in the Everglades, and I can't tell you how many they find when they're doing their helicopter surveys of wading birds. And it might feel like, you know, this grand celebration releasing balloons, but guess what? They come back down, right? And all that is just new microplastic that's gonna end up in the environment and in the gut of some of our favorite animals. So please, please, please help us out. Whenever you can, choose something alternative. Make some festive paper designs, you know, print out some cards, paper ribbons, streamers, goodness, anything except for cellophane balloons.
So we're going to plant a red mangrove, and Kyle's going to demonstrate exactly how that is done. Is there anything special to it?
You know, planting red mangoes is actually very similar to planting trees. You're gonna dig a hole, place it in the hole, make sure it's got the proper depth, and then just fill sediment on top. We don't really need to pack it too tight because we've got this great tide coming in, and that's gonna really settle all the sediment, and it's gonna suction itself into the ground.
The one difference is we don't need to water them afterwards.
That's right. Legit.
Legit.
All right. So we're just gonna make sure you get the proper depth. So we like to make sure that the plug gets about a ½ inch to an inch of sediment on top. That'll help suction it down when that tide comes back in. It's better to plant when the ground is dry versus when you're planting in the water, just because that hole likes to fill in on itself. So we try to always plant at low tide or just at the incoming. Make sure we get proper placement, and it'll give us a better idea for where we can see like where the shorelines get exposed at low tide. So every area is going to be a little bit different, but basically we're just going to bring that soil in right on top. You know, everything that we stuck out of that hole, and we're just going to work it, massage it back in a little bit, and then the tide's going to actually level this out over time. So that sediment will begin to kind of just flush in around, and as this tree drops out all its prop roots, the beautiful thing is it's going to grab sediment. So actually this land is going to be built up rather than you know, washing away.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Very cool.
So just like that, make sure he's vertical to the sky, and we just planted a mangrove just like that.
Awesome. Let's go find some oyster catchers.
Killer.
I mean, this is what it's all about, getting the community invested in restoration. You know, we're a big believer that if we want to further conservation, we've got to connect our communities to our wildlands. And there's no better way than coming out here and recreating on these public lands, engaging with them, and then giving something back, planting a mangrove, picking up some trash. There's no better way to connect to the environment.
Welcome back into South Florida Daily. We're so lucky to have so many trails to explore in our area. And I sit down with host of Parks in the Palm Beaches, Donnell McCant, to let us know which ones we should go to next. South Florida Daily is on the move with Palm Tran. I'm Kate Monahan with South Florida Daily, and we're with Donnell McCant, host of Parks in the Palm Beaches. Donnell, this is a new show. Tell us what we can see this season.
Well, get ready to see a whole lot of exciting places that are in Palm Beach County. The parks are highlighted in such a way that you get to see a wide diversity of the types of parks we have here.
Definitely. And what are some of your favorite parks or preserves?
So one of my absolute favorite parks is Okehely Park. There are so many different things we can do there.
There are a lot of fun activities to see and do at these parks. What types of animals have you seen or experienced at the parks and the preserves?
Well, I actually have had an encounter on the Okehely golf course with a live gator. It was about a good 7 to 8 feet long, and I filmed right in front of it. And my producer was actually a little terrified, but luckily I've had some experience with them, so I felt pretty good.
Thank you so much, Donnell.
Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you. And if you'd like to see Parks in the Palm Beaches, make sure to tune in to South Florida Daily, weekdays at noon on Fox 29.
When Henry Flagler saw Lake Worth Lagoon, he knew people would come to enjoy its natural beauty. He extended his railroad line south, built the Royal Point Sienna and the Breakers, creating Florida's first resort destination, the Palm Beaches. Flagler's tourism industry exploded, and since those times, vibrant cities and communities have sprung up all around Lake Worth Lagoon, attracting crowds of residents and visitors, enjoying culture, food, attractions, and of course, the natural beauty. Lake Worth Lagoon is more than just an incredible urban estuary. What lies over, on, and under the water is waiting to be discovered. The Northern Lagoon is home to MacArthur Beach State Park and the most fertile nursery grounds for juvenile green sea turtles on Florida's east coast. A stone's throw from there is Blue Heron Bridge and the Phil Foster Snorkel Trail, one of the top 5 snorkeling and diving destinations in the world, made so by the myriad of colorful marine life that washes in from the Gulf Stream each day. The lagoon is a sanctuary for manatees in the winter, finding refuge in these warm southern waters and congregating at Florida Power and Light's Manatee Lagoon when temperatures plummet. Best of all, decades of restoration work has brought back critical habitat to Lake Worth Lagoon. And now amazing sport fish like redfish, permit, and snook have returned to the downtown waterfronts, while rare bird species are flourishing here once again. Lake Worth Lagoon offers so much to so many. It is what Flagler once saw. It is the beating heart of the Palm Beaches. It is waiting for you to discover. And it is definitely a lake worth saving.
Let me let you in on a little backstory on how the Palm Beaches plays a surprising role in bringing vegetables to plates across America.
It started back in the early 1900s when the area's agricultural pioneers packed Flagler's northbound trains with strawberries, pineapples, and bell peppers. While the crops may have changed, farmers here are still feeding the nation. About 2 decades ago, Darren and Jody Swank started their farm, Swank Specialty Produce, and quickly became a go-to source for the region's top chefs, providing over 350 types of vegetables and edible flowers. But more than that, they've helped build a growing culture with their annual series of farm-to-table al fresco dining experiences.
And I promise I'm not the only one dressed in my 70s best. Let's boogie oogie oogie our way into the party. I am hungry. Jody, I would not ever get dressed up like this for just anyone, and I would never put these pants on ever again, but I did it for you today because this place is awesome.
Thank you.
Explain to me how this came about.
We are a hydroponic and sustainable farm growing some of the highest quality food for some of the greatest chefs. We started the farm to table movement 9 years ago with just one lunch, and today we have 18 events. We have 8 of them that are Sunday nights, and they're family style themed events. So tonight we're throwing back the 70s,
Right.
an era which I grew up in, and
Sure.
my disco is my favorite music.
Can you dance to 70s music?
Have you seen these hips?
No.
What do you mean? Look at this. Look at what's happening here. Tell me a little bit about how you style these and sort of the feel.
Well, what we do is when we do our Sunday swank table dinners, we bring the guests in to the farm, and they're welcomed by a cocktail and a bite.
Ladies, gentlemen, how are we?
And then we move them down to a second station where each chef does a beautiful appetizer representing their restaurant with some bubbles or some sparkling
So you
wine.
tease them a little bit with what they're about to have.
Yeah,
That's very good,
exactly.
very good, yeah. It's hard to eat with all the hair. It gets in your mouth.
And then Darren Swank gives them a hydroponic Q&A tour.
Tours them around, tells them how it works.
Yep.
Is it possible to have hydroponic cheese?
And then around 5:30, we seat them under our pole barn on long communal tables. It's all family style, 6 guests to a table. 75% of the ingredients come from this farm.
You have to keep coming back again and again, and you have to come to the 70s party because
Right.
who doesn't want to go to a disco on a farm?
Who wouldn't want to see this?
Exactly.
Right?
We're looking
Right.
we're looking for gentlemen in women's wear.
That's right, in women's clothing. You're making
Yes.
people happy, right?
Thank you. Yes, that's what
fantastic.
our mission is.
It's been said that the world simply looks better from a bike. The ability to move at your own speed with no need for a destination. Fast enough to feel the wind in your hair, but not so fast that you miss those moments that become memories. From this seat, you'll experience the best of the Palm Beaches. Discover world-class biking at thepalmbeaches.com.
Thanks for watching us here on South Florida Daily. Make sure you're keeping up with us on real time. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at SouthFL Daily. We'll see you back here tomorrow at noon on Fox 29.